What's up, guys? Thanks. I'm Jesse Goku, also known as King Mexico, and I'm here live. And I do apologize about the inconvenience. I know we were supposed to do a episode of Dark Side of the Community, but unfortunately things happen, and that doesn't look like it's going to happen. So I'm just going live just to talk about a few things, talk about the update on the show, talk about a lot of things. If you're joining me, thank you for joining me. I wasn't going to go live today, but I decided to just do it. Just go live. Talk about stuff. Trying to take care of some stuff at the same time, answering some questions. Yeah, like I said, we had planned on going live today, but unfortunately, it is what it is at this point. Hey, what's up, Beth Anime 19? What's going on? So, if anybody would like to come on, let me know. Message me on Instagram, on Facebook, just to talk. So today we're actually going to talk about Anime Matsuri, and we can still talk about Anime Matsuri, or I could just say that for next week. But we will go live for sure next week on Friday. We go live every year during the con. Delta H Con. Just announce their dates. But it's just an opportunity for me to talk to everybody as far as like what's going to happen with. So next week we will be going live. No one will be on screen, just like I am right now. This is it'll have just a cover photo like this, and like it's to protect us and to protect. Oh, I'm fine. I'm just a little tired. Mike, one of our guests today. I'm not gonna say who, just because I'm not sure if their they want everyone to know, but they're not feeling good today. So next week. So okay. So to clarify what was going to happen today. So today we were going to do a dark side of the community episode. It was going to be part one of the anime Matsuri special that we were going to start in August. We're postponing that to Friday next week. I think it's the first day. Friday is either day two of anime Matsuri. So I think that just works kind of perfectly. What way to kick off Dark Side than to talk about Matsuri during Matsuri, and which is fine because the final week of August we already had a subject. We were ready to advertise it. We were ready to start promoting it, but it turns out our guests can't do it because they have other obligations. And so this kind of just we're gonna shift our schedule a little bit just so it can change. So Dark Side next week will be episode one, part one of three about Anime Matsuri. There will be no Dark Side this weekend because Keyblade Sonic's birthday is tomorrow, and so is mine. So we don't like. I decided to just give everybody the day off. Oh yeah, the Matsuri special is gonna be next week. We always do a special about Matsuri during Matsuri, so this just works out. This is fine. This is gonna work out. I don't know if John's watching. John, I kind of want to bring John back and show, not to talk about Matsuri, but to talk about like being a voice actor guest at cons, just to talk about his schedule and stuff like that. Because people are asking like, oh, as a it must be exciting and fun to go to so many cons throughout the year, and I bet you like people think like there are a lot of people that don't aren't fully aware that being a guest or working conventions is a lot of hard work. It's not as easy as it sounds. I'm a little like down, guys. Sorry, I'm just a little down because I was looking forward to today's episode. Plus, I'm getting well. I always feel down around my birthday, so I did put up the cash app if you would like to. If everyone could donate $1, that'd be awesome. That would actually pay for this channel because we have to pay for Restream. It's a monthly subscription. I would like to get the yearly and save money, but it is what it is. The caption keeps calling Anime matsuri, anime mozzarella, like mozzarella sticks. Are they a restaurant now? Are they serving appetizers? Welcome to Anime Matsuri. We got apps, appetizers, and applications for your phone. What you need, fam? What you need? I've only been to a handful of different cons in the DFW area, all con mostly, and so I'm not well versed in the most cons around Texas. But I do know Matsuri is garbage, though. Matsuri is uh Matsuri is pretty fucking stupid. Like it's such a shame that people still fucking support that convention. Like I don't fucking get it. Like people, I'm not trying to sound like an asshole. Fuck it, I don't care. Like it's fucking, it's fucking crazy. People talk about like, oh, this community needs to get better. We need to do things to improve it. People are being dicks. Like what the fuck is going on? And then there are a lot of these people that are bitching, complaining, support anime Matsuri, and it's fucking crazy. Like to think that it's kind of like Banana. He was bitching, complaining about. I don't know. This probably doesn't make sense, and it probably doesn't like compare. But he was bitching, complaining about cancel culture. Like, oh, I fucking hate it. I can't stand it. Yada yada yada. It's so damn stupid. People just need to stop. And then he gets fucking canceled. I think that's kind of ironic. So I think it's the same. I guess it's just irony. People are bitching like, oh, there's a lot of toxicity in the community. You know, people are fucking dicks to each other. People are gatekeeping. People are being fucking rude. And then next thing you know, they're at fucking Anime Matsuri. I don't get it. Like, I don't understand why they still support Anime Matsuri. Maybe because it's an anime convention in Houston, Texas, and we don't. And they, this is what they believe. I believe they believe that we don't have too many anime conventions, and they need to like protect them. But you know that's such a load of crap because we have Anime Houston, we have Delta, we have well, BotCon's in the area. BotCon just announced another fucking con for a 1 day. And then, like, even though it's in Galveston, that's 45 minutes away. Galveston, I mean, we have OniCon. We have other conventions that you can possibly go to, but people still want to fucking support Anime Matsuri, and I just don't fucking get it. Like, I will never understand it. Like, you can't make it make sense. Oh, crap. Ah, shit. Happy birthday to me. Fuck. Okay. Makes sense. That's true. I like that. Uh, you know, you get popular enough, people tend not to care about anything below the surface. Sounds like Matsuri in a nutshell. All right, yeah. If Canada wants to join, Canada can join. That'd be awesome. If anybody else would like to join and just talk, you know, we're probably just going to be here as long as we can and then just go from there. I do apologize to everybody. Like, it was not my intention to not, like, I wanted to be on today. We were running late, and then I got news that my guest wasn't going to be able to come on, and I'm not even upset. It was my, like, I told him, don't worry about it. It's fine. You know, your health is more important. And so, like, it was something that I wanted to make sure they were okay because I legitimately care about their health. I care about their well being, so they're okay. It's crazy. So, guys, if you're gonna text us, please try to text us on Instagram. Like, don't text us on fucking Facebook. Yeah, because I can't see the messages on Facebook for Geeks however that fast. Like I don't even get notifications like as often as you guys think. Like it does not tell me. I am disappointed. Don't get me wrong. I am very disappointed that we couldn't do the show today. But like I said, their health comes first. I'm more concerned if they're okay or not. And I can just do the show next week. So it is what it is at this point. Text that or it's non or it's the normie con that everyone happened to hear about, and they don't bother or care about the controversy. I miss Kamikaze. I miss Kamikaze Con as well. I really do. Uh, but best wishes to like. I know Mark is doing. I know Mark's doing great. He, didn't do Kamikaze Con not for financial reasons. Well, I guess that had something to do with it, but that's not for the reason people. They didn't kill the con. He decided to walk away from it for other reasons. I used to go to A-Fest some years ago, but I began to see what I was outgrowing the con. Was my first con. Met Johnny Young Bosch there back in '09. That's really cool. I really like Johnny. I miss Johnny. I haven't seen him in for. Last time I saw him, he was a guest at Comic Palooza. There's a couple other things. Oh God, Jace looks like Kratos, but he's not Kratos. He's somebody from. He looks like Kratos, but he's not. And the crazy thing, he's not Kratos. But everybody kept calling him Kratos. He's our Wish.com Kratos. Oh, Jace has texted me. Oh, we got to update the social media to let everybody know there's no show tonight. Like we got to let everybody know that there is no show tonight, and we got to let everybody know. But guess what? We are live. It's not the episode that we promised, but we are live. We're talking to everybody. I'm talking some shit about Matsuri, and I already told them that I already updated it. Like it's everything is just like last minute. It's fine. Johnny and Bosch is such a sweetheart. Yeah, I love Johnny. Johnny's a great person. And I want to meet Johnny Young Bosch. Yeah, he's a great person. I really love Johnny. I have nothing bad to say about Johnny. I've never heard anything bad about Johnny. He's worth going to a con to see. He's very cool. He's very very down to earth. He doesn't take his celebrity status like seriously. Like, and I know that kind of sounds bad, but he doesn't take it to where it gets to his head. Like he's like, oh, I'm famous. I didn't know that. Like, all right, it doesn't matter. He's very down to earth, and he's willing to talk to anybody, and make friends. And, like, he's very grateful for every like. Even if he only had one fan, he's very grateful. Like you guys, I'm very grateful for all of our followers. Like you guys are helping. It helps to know that you guys support the channel, and it gives me something to work towards. I know a lot of people are disappointed about today's episode not being about Anime Matsuri. I'm really fucking disappointed too. Like it's so fucking crazy because a lot of people have a lot of awful things to say about Anime Matsuri. And it's kind of hard to. Like, and I know people are like shitting. Like there are two types of Anime Matsuri con goers. Actually, there's three: the people that ghost the con, the people that still support the con, and then there are the people that are just hearing about the convention for the first time. They're gonna go. There's a lot of like every year they get a lot of first time goers because they advertise the shit out of the con, and so like they people don't know like, hey, this con is fucking toxic. You shouldn't go. Like you shouldn't fucking go, and they go anyway, and it's fucking crazy to think. Um, we do have a, but it's I know because I talked to a couple friends and they're going for the first time. They're like, "Hey, we're going to Anime Matsuri." I'm like, "Fuck no, I'm not. I wouldn't go near that fucking con." But if you want to come on, let me know, and I will send you an invite. Hey, what's up, John? John's here. So, uh, I, guys, we got a voice act. We got another. Speaking of voice actors, we got John. If you guys haven't met John, John is really fucking cool. Like I like John. There aren't too many voice actors that I can say that are really chill as shit, but like John, Johnny, Kyle, like who else? I'm not gonna like say anybody's an asshole, but the there are a handful of people that I've met from the anime industry, and John is definitely fucking like John is cool. He's legit. So if you don't follow John, and look, he even has a YouTube channel. So go ahead and subscribe to his channel, and let's like get him to start releasing TikToks and stuff like that. But like, go ahead and follow John. Like, do me a favor, follow John and follow his Instagram. Okay. Somebody sent me a message on Insta. Like, I know we weren't gonna like. Yeah, sure. Somebody wants to come join the call. We got a caller. Sending them the link to join the show. So if you're interested in joining, just to talk about. So I am talking about Anime Matsuri for a bit, but I'm gonna really leave all the like the detailed stuff, like the information. So I don't know if you guys. Okay, Beth Anime is joining us. Beth Anime 19. Thank you for joining us.
Of course.
Hey, so there's no fancy intros. There's no like ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. None of that today. This is just a blog. Like that's just part of the Geeks Forever podcast. The dark
Yeah.
episodes are serious, but this is just me talking to people because I am tired. I'm turning 35 tomorrow. It's like it's been a week, but
Mm,
thank you for coming on. Like, so what's up? What's going on? We're actually I'm talking about Anime Matsuri a bit, but not too much because I'm gonna save a lot of that for because there's so much to talk about when it comes to that topic. I know everyone's heard like horror stories about Anime Matsuri. And scan our QR codes, by the way, guys. We got our Instagram and our YouTube. Well, you guys are probably watching on YouTube, but at the end of August, we are no longer streaming on Facebook. That is coming to an end. It's not worth it. Sorry, guys, if you watch on Facebook, but it's simply just not worth it. And we own, like, I'm looking at my numbers right now, and I have one person watching on Facebook. 80% of my audience is coming from YouTube, and I have like a few people from Twitch.
oh,
Yeah, so Facebook sucks.
man.
So
Yeah.
what's up?
Not much. Not much. I was just at a Otakon last weekend in DC.
Oh, how'd that go? Oh, right, that's right. I heard a bunch of people go to Otakon, and they're a big
Yeah.
convention. I know that's I don't know if that's where they announced the new Digimon.
Yeah, that's where it was. I didn't watch the discotheque media panel, but I did see it on Twitter that they were talking about the old Digimon movies are they're dubbing it again, but it's uncut, and they got some of the OG cast there.
Right, they got some of the OG cast. They did have to recast some characters because some of the I think a couple of the cast members have passed away since.
Yeah, which sucks. But
What's up, Sonic? Sonic saying hello from Twitch. We got John. Thank you, John, for the happy birthday. Thank you so much.
oh yeah, happy
Uh,
birthday.
thank you. We have our Cash App. If everybody wants to donate $1, that $1 will save. That it'll go to the broke ass Mexican Foundation. But I heard about like the con. I heard like a bunch of people were talking about it. Like it's a great con.
Oh yeah.
So we might be in communication with them next year. Who knows? We will see.
Yeah,
'Cause-
definitely. Oh, sorry, I interrupted. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that we might be going national. No, we're definitely going national, but I don't know which cons we're going national with.
Yeah, but I definitely maybe would recommend you getting in touch with Otakon because next year is their 30th anniversary. And I was like, oh wow, 30th. That's very, very interesting.
Hey, they're 30 just like me. I'm
Dude.
35. I'm definitely older, but
So I turned 23 next month.
oh, such a fucking baby.
I am a baby. But yeah, but overall, like, I enjoyed Otakon this year. It was my third time attending, and it was, I'd say, this year much improved last year. Like last year, they had a total of 40,000 attendees. This year, they were 42,000, and I was like, whoa. But
That's
I still
that's that's insane though. Like
exactly,
42,000 is a lot of people.
exactly, and so lost my train of thought. But last year the lines to get in the con were so crazy. I was like, "Oh, wow." And I remember last year right after I left the convention hall with my dad, and we went to go eat at a restaurant that was near the convention center. It took me like 10 to 15 minutes to get inside, but this year the lines were so much better. And
Hey, hold on. Give me a second. Give me a second. Hey, John, I sent you the link by the way in Instagram. Uh, just because I just saw your comment right now, so I sent you the joining link. By the way, sorry. I just wanted to let him know because I was messaging him on Facebook and like the problem with the Facebook account is that like it doesn't notify me when somebody messages me. I have to go and manually check it myself. That's why we're not messing around with Facebook anymore. It's just constantly pissing me off.
yeah, that's understandable. But yeah, Otakon, though, their lines to get in the convention hall were handled much better. And it didn't take me too long on day two. Like, usually, at cons where day two is the most busiest day, it's like it gets jam packed. It
Yeah, no, I know. Saturdays, yeah, because
Yeah,
everyone's
it didn't
off.
take me too long to get in though, but still, it was pretty good. Not bad. I had a little minor foot injury at the con. Uh, I was walking down the stairs and I was posting one of my pictures, and I slipped down the stairs, and I think I pulled a muscle in my foot, and I had trouble walking through the second half of day two. And so I was a little like freaking out. I'm like, oh, I hope I did not twist or my
Mhm.
foot. But then I looked, I was like, okay, no bruise. I don't see anything bad. So, okay, we're good. But I went to the cyberpunk photo shoot because I was Lucy on day two. And so I had to like walk and sit for a minute. And there was this one guy who was like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "Yeah, I pulled a muscle in my foot." He's like, "Do you need to go to do you need to go to first aid?" I was like, "Oh no, I should be okay." And I really think I just pulled a muscle in my foot. And yeah.
So okay, that I'm glad you're.
Oh yeah.
That's
It's
rough. But
Check.
joining us is John Gramillion, the voice of. He does many different voices. I can't think. I had a brain fart as soon as he joined. I'm sorry.
Check 1, 2. You there?
The gentle criminal himself. Yeah, we're here. We can definitely hear you.
You can hear me on the. I'm not hearing it on the YouTube, but I probably shouldn't, right?
There's a 10-second
I'm,
delay.
oh, okay. I've got restream, but you can hear me through. I'm coming through.
Yeah, I can definitely hear you, and your sound
Cool.
is coming through. But remember,
Great.
there's a 10-second delay between live and like
Oh yeah. Okay. So I have to shut that off. Cool.
yeah. So you'll hear
I
yourself in a second. It's gonna take
Oh, no problem.
a second. Thank you for joining. Uh,
Hey, no
I
problem.
didn't think it's always fun to have you on the show, man. Like I enjoy having you on the show. Like there aren't too many people that come on and then we can just kind of just like talk
Yeah,
because I think whenever people come on the show they get like a little nervous or they try to stick to a script. Like where's the script? Where's the script?
right.
Like what the hell is a script?
What's that?
Like a prescription? Is that what you need? I mean I got some Adderall. I mean not Adderall. I'm sorry. I'm thinking Tylenol. I don't take Adderall. Like I barely take over the counter stuff. But
Well, I heard you. I heard you saying something pretty interesting the other night. On I tuned in for a little while on your last one, but it was that you were making the comment that there's too many cons
yeah,
in general. That
yes.
we're getting a little we're getting a little saturated, and I, ca- I tend to agree. I mean, I can't imagine how when I look at animecons.com and I look at a calendar and see where I might want to go to a con, and I'm kind of overwhelmed by and surprised by how many cons there are every weekend somewhere. And we've wondered amongst ourselves, some of the voice actors, hey man, are we saturating this too much? Are things getting too is there just so much of it that people are like, oh, okay, I can, it has a diminishing returns after a while, or we hope it doesn't.
Hmm.
But because we always like going and we always like meeting people and having a good time. They're great. They're really fun. I love traveling. I love going to cons. But yeah, that's a fear. That's a legit concern that I think people are that you're voicing.
Right. The reason. So I have many different reasons for voicing that opinion. We've already gone
Yeah.
through one once. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
this happened like 12 years ago, 13 years, or maybe 10 years ago. I'm not exactly sure on the time stamps, but like here's another thing, and I'm glad you're here. The reason, like, and it's crazy to hear it from your perspective as well, because you
Mm-hmm.
would think like, oh, like because people don't know, like, oh, you know, voice talent, and that's why I bring it up. Like they don't realize that, like, yeah, being working in the anime industry is like fun. It can be fun. It can be awesome. You know, you definitely have followers, fans, whatever the case may be. But it's a lot of hard
Right.
work. It's a lot of living out of a suitcase, a lot of
Yeah.
hotels, a lot
Mhm.
of traveling.
Yeah. I mean, I try not to. I look at everything about going to a con as being a perk.
Hmm.
I would never complain about going to a con unless something really dramatically bad was happening, or we were put into a terrible hotel with water dripping everywhere. We were not treated well, or we weren't. But that never happens. I mean, I've almost never been in a situation where people are not ready to help you if there's a problem. You're treated. You're flying somewhere. You're getting flown somewhere. You're staying in a hotel. You're meeting your fans. You're signing stuff for people. You're doing panels. You're having a good time. You're going out to dinner later. I mean, what is there not to like? Right?
Right.
There's worse
Mhm.
way. There's worse ways to spend a weekend,
Hmm.
for sure. So I never complain about that, and I don't hear very many people having any kind of diva complaints about things like that. But so I think that it's always a very cool experience to be able to go to cons. And what I'm hoping, when you brought up the other day that they may be getting too saturated and the bubble might burst, what would be a shame about that is that some of them may go bankrupt. Some of them may not be able to, get enough people in the door, sell tickets. We can't do it next year. And I know that some people might look at that and go, "Hey, that's okay. Let's separate the wheat from the chaff. Let's get let's survival of the fittest, whatever." But I'm not crazy about that happening with conventions, just because anime conventions are what give a lot of people in the community their socialization.
Hmm.
Their time to be with their pack. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I'd hate for some smaller towns or smaller cities, or the ones that can't necessarily afford huge budgets can still be really cool and can still be great for fans in the area who don't want to go to a big city, or can't travel to a big city, or don't have the money or the time, or can't go to a Matsuri or a Palooza or a whatever. It's great to be able to have smaller cons around. So it would be a shame if they dropped off the map because there were just too many of them. But I understand it's a reality. I mean, it might happen, but it's still, you know what I mean? It's still a bit of a concern. I'd hate for fans to suffer for that.
Right. No, it's that's the main issue I have it is the fans, because you have a lot of cosplayers or a lot of congoers, or what is the
Mhm.
proper term?
You got a lot of artists, you got a lot of dealers and vendors and people who like to sell cool stuff, and it's where they all come together. So it's not just about the voice actors; it's about all those vendors and artists and other people in the industry who want to take part in it, make a living, go see their friends, go sell their wares, and have a good time.
Right.
Absolutely.
But here's another thing. Here's another thing that people don't think about, and this is actually kind of vital. So I always talk about, in all my shows, I always talk about, you know, I ask everybody, do you think panelists are the heart and soul of a con? They're like, yeah. There are a lot of people agree. Do I think
Hmm.
guests are like the blood, like you are the heart and soul, and then the guests are the blood. But the
Yeah. Okay.
foundation of every con, the legs to stand on for a convention,
Yeah.
are the volunteers.
Yep. Volunteers and staff
Hmm.
Right.
who have to be really good at improving and have to be really light on their feet and really on it
Hmm.
to make things run smoothly in a very unpredictable weekend kind of environment. Unless you've got, I can't imagine what it takes to run a con. I mean, I've never tried to run one.
Oh, stress. Like, it's a
So
lot
I'm
of running
sure it's
around.
very, very stressful. Even under the best circumstances, you're going to run into all kinds of problems. So, and there's so much unpredictability with people, with the way people behave. Even if the guests are, even if everybody behaves exactly the way they should, you've got no issues with anybody. Nobody complains about something at the hotel or the center. I mean, there's always going to be problems. But even if everybody was on their best and having their best day and there was no issues, you're still dealing with a whole lot of unpredictability.
Mhm.
So
Hmm.
it's just a tremendous amount of organization that has to go into it. So no, I don't envy people who have to do that. So having willing volunteers and willing staff are, whenever I go to a con, I always try to give the staff and the volunteers like a free print or something to just let them know we appreciate them, because they keep you, they're the ones that are going to go get you your water and your coffee and take care of you and make sure that you're comfy, have an extra chair, whatever you need.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Like, and that's why, like, I feel for the volunteers and staff, because, like, as a panelist, look, I've volunteered for cons before. I volunteered for A-Con, and I volunteered for Anime Matsuri, and I will
oh.
never in my life do that shit again.
too big a con, huh?
No, like,
too rich for your.
oh no, Matsuri, and that's the thing that I was gonna bring up next week, is that when
Okay.
I volunteered for Anime Matsuri, they treated us like absolute shit.
Oh,
gosh.
And, like,
dang.
I was sick, I was running a fever, and they still stuck my ass outside guarding one of the doors for the car show.
Oh my
Mm.
God.
So, like, I'm not gonna go into detail, but, like, A-Con was just way too, like, they didn't have any wiggle room. Like, I had told them I wanted to be in the cosplay contest. They said, okay, fine, but they still scheduled me to work. And, like, I was absolutely pissed. But, like, A-Con doesn't treat you as bad as A-Con back then, though, is completely different from A-Con now. I'm not sure how A-Con works.
Yeah, I've never been to
I've
A-Con.
never been to A-Con either.
So A-Con is as of right now, is the biggest anime convention in Texas.
Wow.
It's either the biggest or it's
Right.
definitely the oldest, but it used to be the longest running consecutive back-to-back yearly
I think
con
Interesting.
in the US.
Mm.
Because other
Interesting.
cons, there are other cons that are older, but those cons weren't consecutive. But
Huh.
the pandemic ruined their streak. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
so
Sorry.
so I was gonna say, like, people don't realize this, and I don't even, John. I don't know. I'm not sure if you even realize it yourself,
Sure.
but a lot of a lot of these cons have the same volunteers at every convention.
Oh wow. Okay.
Ha.
Hold on, guys, give me a second. So, like, a lot of these volunteers go to the same cons. Like, you'll see, I'm not saying like 80%, 70%. I'm saying more like, 20, 30%, maybe at most. It's the same volunteers at every con. But you got to understand that a quarter, like, even if it's only 25%, that's a quarter. Like,
Yeah.
that's a lot.
Mhm.
Like,
Right.
and when you have too many conventions during the same weekend or back to back to back, that
Yep.
messes with the volunteers, because the volunteers are working, like, there are volunteers that only work for a free badge, and there are some that will work so they can get the badge and the room. for free.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
It's
Wow.
because a lot, and like I'm not assuming. I'm just saying some volunteers rely on this financial assistance to be able to go to these events, because without the financial assistance, they couldn't afford to go to the convention as it is. And
Wow.
there's also getting time off from work. Like, let's say
Yeah. Right. Right. Right.
you don't work a
Right.
Monday, to Friday 9 to 5. Let's say you work a customer service job that requires you to work on weekends. Let's say you work at maybe you're an entrepreneur, maybe you work on your own schedule. Like, there's so many factors that go into what makes a con a success and what makes a con, like cons need to break even to be able to continue. There are a lot of cons that do lose money on the event itself, but make up for it with advertisers or whatever the case may be. There's a lot of gears, because conventions are like a living body. That's why I say heart and soul, blood, legs, everything. Like, if the con chair and the staff are like the brain, like the brains is obviously the con chair, the person that created the con,
Yeah.
but they need the rest of the body to function.
Yep. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Let me see.
Yeah.
Volunteered at AllCon. Well, the staff was very nice. I had to cover a lot of no shows. Not their fault, but I just now pay the full pass and enjoy myself. Volunteer work is unappreciated. That is a good point, by the way,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm.
because
Yep.
like a lot of
Yep.
cons as of late have been having a shortage. I'm not going to say which cons, but I know for a fact from my I don't know what I want to call them, my mole. A lot of these cons are having shortages on volunteers.
Mm.
Oh.
So
Yeah. Okay. I can understand.
so like so when people are like, oh, it's like, oh, and I'm glad you brought that up, because and I've been talking about that since like this year started. Since this year started, I've been saying, and I've been preaching that, like, hey, look, there are way too many cons. And it's not just anime. Like, you gotta you got the gaming conventions.
Yeah.
You have
Yeah.
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
horror
You're right.
conventions. You have you have video game and tabletop gaming. You
Like
have
that.
Right.
you have
Right.
you have
Right.
collectible conventions where they do, like, you have a convention for just Funko Pops. Like, that's
Wait,
crazy.
really?
Yes,
Really?
I'm not sure where, but I know that there is.
I've not heard of that. That's a new one on me too.
Right?
So, like,
Yeah.
yeah, I've heard of a convention just for like Funko Pops and stuff like that.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
So,
I'm not surprised.
mhm. Funko Pops are the Geeks version of Beanie Babies.
You know, speaking of, my sources tell me, I don't know when this is going to happen, but my sources are telling me that there's a good chance Mihawk will finally get a Funko Pop pretty soon.
Whoa.
Oh yeah,
Very happy about that. I'd be very happy if that happens. That's going to be cool.
Let me ask, because I think I did hear that.
Yeah, I've heard it from a couple of people
Right.
who are in the know,
So-
who are kind of have their ear to the ground.
Right.
But no word on a date. I don't think it's coming out in this big October wave that's coming up. I think it might be in 2024.
It takes about 18 months to make any kind of
Oh, wow.
figurine or Funko Pop.
Yeah,
So-
I think that's in the works, though. That's what I hear. Is that I've seen a couple of things online, and I heard it from a couple of people. So that would be really cool.
Yeah.
Been waiting for that one.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Just so everyone
Yeah,
knows,
sure.
though, because I know a lot of people that collect figurines and stuff like that weren't aware of that. That's why whenever brand new characters are introduced, we don't get any merchandise for them until, like, either we're already planning on releasing this character and they've already worked out the details because they knew right off the bat they're going to be popular,
Yep.
or this character is introduced, turns out they're popular, now they want to capitalize on the popularity. So it takes about
Sure.
18 months to make any kind of
Yeah,
figurine.
yeah.
Mhm.
Don't know how that company keeps up.
Right.
They've got so many of them. I mean,
I wouldn't.
and they're not always in. There's rumors that that company's not always in the best of shape. They're having shakeups and stuff like that. I don't know. I don't know exactly how to pay attention to the rumors and the things you hear. So don't quote me.
Right.
but
I'm
Yeah.
I'm not qualified to speak to that.
Are you talking about Funko? Are you talking about
Funko is a company, and the market, what the market will bear changes a lot too. You know, some some voice actors are criticized because they say, well, you're going to charge extra for a quote. And not just a signature. You're going to charge 10 extra bucks if you put a quote on the Funko. And what I've understood from what people tell me is that that's only really because they are now worth more on the open market. And what the market is doing, it's just kind of basic economics, is they're saying, well, yeah, if I turn around and sell this on eBay for your signature, it's only going to be worth this. With a quote, it's going to be worth more. So then some voice actors have gone along with that and said, okay, well, then I'm going to charge more to put a quote.
Exactly. No,
So,
I don't have an issue with that.
it's I don't know.
It is that is the case right now because you have resellers and they turn around and especially anything that
Yeah.
has to do with somebody that's passed away, anything with Chris Ayers'
Oh,
signature,
sure.
Oh, yeah.
Jason David Frank's
Yeah,
signature.
definitely. Yeah,
Uh,
that's the basic. That's economics at work.
Mhm.
mhm.
The market at work.
So, but like, and that's why like I will based on my experience, and I'm not sure if it was like an anime voice talent or if it was just like somebody else, but they no longer do like they only do personalized. Oh, it was a wrestler. It was a former WWE wrestler. They only do personalized signatures now. Like it has like they will add their name to the autograph to make it personalized. So it's because they don't like the whole resale business. Which to each their own. Like there's some people that only personalize signatures. There's some people that like charge extra. There's some people that don't charge extra. Like I forget his name, but he snatched like he took one of our Funko Pops and personalized. He added a message to it. He wrote like an entire like paragraph on it. It was really awesome.
Yeah, sometimes people want you to write a paragraph on there.
Yeah,
Mm.
we
I right after Gentle Criminal and La Brava came out with their little 2-pack Funko Pop, I went to Connecticut. I went to ConnectCon, and that was right after it hit the market. So I was saying, okay, maybe I'll bring some pops. People were coming up to us with, coming up to my table with a crate. They were wheeling a crate because they have the little side business going where they say to their friends, hey, I know you can't make the con. Send me all your Funko boxes with sticky notes and instructions and what color you want, blah, blah. And I will go up, and somebody handed me 10 of those and said, these are for all my friends. I get a cut. That's how the business, they get a little side thing going on.
yes, that is 100%.
Which I thought was really interesting.
Wow.
That is 100% true. There are Facebook
Yeah.
groups that I am a part of where they do that.
Wow. Very cool.
Uh,
So people run a little side hustle to get your Funko signed if you can't go to a con. They'll travel and take a cut of getting your stuff signed.
Yes, like they get like a $10 cut. You have to pay for the shipment.
Wow.
You have to ship it both ways. You have to send them the
That's
figure.
crazy. Yeah, I had a fan contact me through my website. It's the only time this has ever happened, and said, I can't make a convention where you're going to be. I'm across the country. I really want to get you to sign Megan Shipman signed La Brava. I want you to sign Gentle on the other side. So I said, okay, cool. He said, what can I do? I said, well, I'll tell you what, put it in the mail, send it. If you can cover shipping coming this way, I'll cover it the other way. I'll charge you this much for it, the same as I would charge at a convention. I'll sign it. I'll put it back in the mail. Want to do it that way? We can do it that way. And so we did it like that. So no problem. I mean, I don't know if I'd want to run a business like that out of my house, but most of the time people just bring them to cons. But that's another thing you can do. People send them to you.
Mm-hmm. There's and it is that industry though. I wouldn't like if you're thinking about jumping into that full time. I would not recommend it. It's a good.
No,
side
I'm not
hustle.
I'm not thinking about making that a business.
No. I was like letting people know like in the comment section.
Oh sure.
And because we also have the replay afterwards. And Android 17. I'm not gonna say his actual name because he goes by 17. Did say that it was the voice actor of Majin Buu from Dragon Ball Z that autographed the message on his.
Oh yeah, there you go.
It was kind of cool because he like we didn't even tell like we went because we didn't have money, like we were broke, and he bought the Majin Buu, and like whatever money, like the money we had left was just for food because. And then he was it was really nice of him. He kind of just grabbed it and signed it and like put this entire like message on it. So we really appreciate that. We don't sell any of our autograph stuff. I literally freaked out Chris Sabat, by the way, for those of you wondering, because I had like an entire like wagon filled with stuff. He's like, are you a reseller? No, hell no. This is my stuff. This is staying with me. So like I really don't like. It's crazy though. So when we saw each other at Delta, like I was wondering if like because I knew there was a Gentle Criminal and La Brava Funko Pop, but that one is
Right.
really hard to find. Like I can't.
You can get it at the. You can still get it on the Funko app. It's still at the Funko store. They have not vaulted it. You just can't get it anymore at a store. You can't go to Hot Topic and pick one up. It was exclusive at Anime Expo. Then it was exclusively sold at Hot Topic stores, and now it's on the Funko app or on the Funko website if you do a search.
Mm.
And I would do it there instead of going to. I don't like to tell people to go to eBay just because eBay is potentially fraught with issues. You never know who you're getting it from. You never know if it's the real deal. It can be open to some of that. And I know that Funko legitimately would not rip anybody off. That's the only reason I don't tell people to go to eBay. You want to go to eBay, it's your business. But sometimes you know what to look for if you're looking for a sham. And I also have been told that there are no fakes that have been made of that Funko Pop. I'm really surprised to see how many fake Funkos are made of so many other pops that are out there.
Mm-hmm. So
and they look legit. I was really surprised to hear about that.
And they scan. They will scan as if they are legit. The barcodes, everything.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
sure. Oh yeah, big time. I was shocked to hear about that. I saw a video comparison one day. This guy who I talk to sometimes, he's like my little Funko source. I Instagram messaged him because I saw one of his YouTube videos. He's all over it, and he was like showing you a comparison between the real and the fake. This guy's on Instagram. He goes by Skittle Rampage, and he does these YouTube videos too, all the time. He updates every day, practically. And he's really up on things. And he was showing all the different things you can tell, the color differences, the font had a thicker stroke on it, different ways that you can tell a fake from a real. I was like, are you serious right now? And I messaged him and I said, do you think there's fake Gentle and La Brava ones? And he goes, nope, as far as I know, there's not. I said, well, good. Because if you ever buy them from a reseller or anything like that, you never know what you're going to get. So that's one reason why, depending on the pop, I don't tell people to go get them somewhere they don't know exactly where they're getting it from.
Mm-hmm. I think
that you're going to get yourself in some trouble.
The fake ones that I've seen are usually the ones that are worth like hundreds, maybe $1,000.
Wow.
Because it's
so the real old school ones that everybody's searching for,
right? Like that
have been vaulted or something.
Yeah, like the I don't know if you're aware of
that
this
makes more sense. That makes more sense.
Like Golden Frieza, the Anime Expo Golden Frieza, like that one is worth like last time I checked it was 500.
Holy shit!
Golly.
And I think it might be worth more now, especially autographed. You're looking at a couple G's.
That's bizarre.
I'm looking that up right now of how much it is now.
Well, like
That's
if you
really
got
crazy.
Golden Frieza autographed, it would have been mostly Chris Ayres because it is a Resurrection F.
Mm-hmm.
So it would have been Chris Ayres that you would have wanted to get it autographed with.
Right.
Mm.
So
Wow.
so my friend sent me a picture of but like we were talking about so I just found the Funko Pop on Amazon. They do have it on Amazon, 2-day shipping. It's a $29.98. I might actually get one.
Okay.
Oh, that's not bad.
There you go.
So it is this one is official, and the thing about Amazon is they're really good with their quality control now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. They're not bad. I found some good resellers on Amazon.
Yeah, I got Spider-Man Miles Morales with the Spider-Man remastered to play on my streams, and it was like I only had to pay like $46. So I was like, oh, that's not bad, because everywhere on retailers it's like 70, so that's not bad at all.
And just for my curiosity, I jumped on the stream a little late. What is the name of the other guest tonight?
This is Beth Anime 19.
Beth Anime 19. Hi.
Beth Anime 19 is blogger.
And what do you do? Is it cosplayer, blogger? What do you do?
I'm a Twitch streamer. I'm also an aspiring voice actress and a cosplayer.
Awesome.
I met you at Delta H-Con, actually.
Oh, very cool. Just the other weekend, about a month ago.
Yeah.
That was fun.
A month ago. I can't believe that.
I know. No kidding.
Time flies.
I know. Yeah, I had a big break between those two cons. The next one is a couple of weeks from now. A couple of weekends from now, I'm going to be in Gonzales, Louisiana. We're doing Anime Town, Louisiana.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's my first time in Louisiana, so that's cool. I'm trying to do more cons outside of Texas because the other thing you got to watch if you're a voice actor, of course, is that you don't want to saturate one state that you're in and go to too many cons where you are where too many people have seen you in a couple of months, even in the last year,
Mhm.
because they probably got your autograph, they probably met you. You won't do as well there, perhaps. You want to meet some new fans too, and there's all kinds of states I want to go to where I've never met some of my fans, and that would be really fun because you're going to meet a whole bunch of new people. And I like traveling, and anything that gets me further away from the coast and this hot weather is going to be awesome because I'm melting.
I don't blame you. Like it is
Yeah.
awful
Dude,
here.
seriously.
Ugh.
Last summer, oh my God, last summer last summer was pretty hot too, not as bad as this one. But I went to Anime Festival Wichita. Wichita, Kansas, just up a couple of states. It was so much cool. It was 30 degrees colder up there. It was like 70 degrees outside. I had my breakfast outdoors on Sunday, stayed out there, just enjoyed the breeze. I was like, can I stay here and not go home?
That was
Houston. I'm born and raised in Houston. I'm used to the hot weather, but this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's a donk.
It is ridiculous, especially if you're a cosplayer.
Dude,
mhm.
I would never be a cosplayer in this kind of heat.
Yeah, because
It's just dangerous after a while.
yeah, when I was at Baltimore last week, I was like, oh man, this feels so much better than Texas. And I'm like, and then like the Monday, the day before I head back home, I'm like, oh boy, I have to go back and be in the heat. Yay!
Yeah, you do. I'll be right back, you guys. 2 minutes. I'm gonna grab a drink.
If you need to get some water, go ahead and get some water. You too, Beth. If you need to take a water
Yeah.
break.
Let me get some water real quick.
So, like, with that being said, though, guys, like, I talked about it multiple times, and and we're gonna dedicate an entire dark side of the community to that subject because there are way too many conventions. The market is saturated right now, and it's gonna come to a point where like the cons, like, they cost money, guys. Let's just put it out there. Cons cost money. They cost gas. Even if you're ghosting the con, you're talking about gas. Maybe you're staying at a hotel. That's gonna cost money. Badges, food. If you have kids, what if you buy something in the dealer's room? It adds up, and we have, everyone's got bills and stuff like that. And so, like, and I don't know, like, there's just way too many. We've had, what is it? We had DreamCon, Anime Fest, Etchy Fiesta, Houston Gaming Convention, Anime Texas, cool, OkashiCon, Delta, BahCon. Anime Matsuri is next week for those of you that are like fucking deciding to go. I don't know why you would go, but whatever. Like, an Anime Matsuri is not fucking cheap. I don't care. Like, $100 for a badge, you can kiss my ass. Like, I'm not paying that shit.
What the? What?
Do you think that in any way that's worth it for the size of the con? How many people are there? Or does it kind of does that wash out? Does it make a con more or less appealing the bigger the con is?
I think the bigger the con, to me, it's kind
Does
of
it just get too crowded after a while? It's not worth it because it's too crowded?
I think that's based off of your perspective.
Maybe.
Because some people hate the large crowds. Like, oh, they're overstimulated.
Yeah.
You're overstimulated. It's overcrowded. You are like some people freak out in a large crowd. And
oh, hey, listen, some voice actors too don't like to. I mean, you might say to yourself, hey, why would you complain if you're gonna have a long line and a long queue all day for 3 days? But some voice actors are human beings too, and sometimes some of us, I'm sure, like the medium-sized con scene and that vibe a little more than maybe a huge, packed, overcrowded, overwhelming situation. Just depends on the person, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But
exactly.
yeah, I mean that goes across the board. Yeah, but I'm just wondering for you, when you go to a con, is an overcrowded con just, is that overstimulation in that crowd just too much after a while? Or the medium size a little more fun, a little more easy to navigate? And it depends on where you are and who's running it, of course. But.
Yeah. So my personal, so this is my personal preference. Remember, guys, that everything that we share and talk about is based off of
Sure.
like uh preference. Like everybody has their own opinion of stuff. Uh because we have to do disclaimers now, unfortunately.
That's all right.
Mhm.
It's
But
all good.
so I do like the bigger cons, but I do maybe like one or two a year. I prefer smaller conventions because there's much more of a personal take on it. Like people are
There you
more
go.
willing
Yeah.
to interact with you, and
Yeah, sure.
it's
That's
easy.
what I'm kind of getting at. So some people dig that more.
Mhm.
Like we're at a bigger con, like you have like a long ass like a line for like a for talent, and like you can't be like, all right, 10 seconds autograph, get the hell out of here, you know.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And it's like where at Delta, like on Sunday, I actually got to talk with you and Kyle. Like I talked to Kyle, and then I came to your table and we talked for a bit. And I even told you like, hey, I got to talk with Kyle for a bit. He told me how to contact him, and that just it's just that personal like that touch with the
Sure.
smaller conventions that just gives it a little bit more appeal to some people rather than the
Right.
bigger conventions where people are a little bit more what is the word,
Yeah.
closed off.
Mhm.
Now, it also depends, of course, on the venue, because when you go to the huge cons at George R. Brown, George R. Brown to me is, no matter if you like the con or not, it's a massive place to have to walk around. You get your exercise for sure, but it's enormous. And if they don't, you've got to be really good on the signage, on how to tell people where to go, how to navigate, how to tell people how to navigate the traffic.
Hmm.
I'm not saying that right. You know what I'm talking about.
No,
How they organize a con in terms of how to make sure that the traffic is going to be minimized depending on where people want to go and how easily they want to get from floor to floor
Mhm.
to the best places I went to, I think it was Comic Palooza several years ago, like 2013, and Patrick Stewart was there. He was one of the guests, and they walked a long line of people who wanted to go from one place. They had to move into another place, so they're navigating snaking all through the Brown Convention Center to get to where he was. So and one time I was in a band and we played Comic Palooza or Matsuri. I can't remember which one. I went to Matsuri I think in '09. A friend of mine was working staff, and I kind of crashed it just to see what it was all about. I wasn't a guest there. I just walked around, and that convention center. I'm sorry, it's just too big.
the
It's
09 convention,
huge.
the '09 convention, when you went to Matsuri, was it at the Woodlands Convention Center?
No, it was George R. Brown.
Okay,
So
so
it might have been.
it was definitely because they didn't start doing JoJo Brown until 2014, I believe.
Oh well, never mind. So I've got a Matsuri badge from wow 14. Is that wow? Okay.
Wow.
Well, maybe it was in the Woodlands. Who knows? Memory does not always serve me correctly.
That's
So,
fine. That's fine. It's because
but I
'09 Matsuri.
yeah,
So to a lot of people, '09 Anime Matsuri is considered the best anime Matsuri.
really.
Yes.
I'll have to look. I'll have to go look at that badge and see if it's got a year on it.
Mhm. So they were still in the Woodlands at that time. They were in the
Okay.
Woodlands for a
Okay.
while until 2013, I believe, where
Okay.
they moved to the location where Anime Houston was.
Now, Anime Houston has moved every year to a different hotel. I think
Right.
the last
Wow.
this year we're at this year we're where Delta H was. We're going to be at the West Chase Marriott where Delta H just was. The year before that we were downtown at the Hyatt, which was great, which was cool. I like the downtown Hyatt, but the air conditioning was wonky, and we talked about that. Um, and then the year before that, Anime Houston was at the Hyatt Intercontinental. So they've moved hither and yon all over the city.
Wow.
Hmm. Right. No, they have, and there's a reason why.
Yeah,
And
it changes all the time. Things change all the time.
exactly.
But I got to hand it to him. John Swayze knows how to run a con.
Hmm.
He takes care of people.
Mhm.
I got to give him some serious props on that.
And that's another thing, and that right there, like we have individuals like they have companies now that own multiple conventions
Right.
and they are touring them. Like
Oh,
it
cool.
kind of, it's actually, I'm gonna be honest with you, it's kind of annoying because we have Anime Austin, Anime Dallas, Anime Houston,
Uh-huh.
Anime Texas, Anime
Yeah, 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 yeah,
or
yeah, yeah.
like we're pretty soon we're gonna have an Anime Bucky's at this point.
What?
Please don't tell me. Well, I'm going to reserve judgment, but I don't think Anime Bucky's is going to be my favorite.
No, I mean it's only
They'll
a
have
matter of
good
time.
jerky.
I mean they already have the mascot running around. It's only a matter
They
of
could call
time.
it jerky. They could call it Jerky Con
Jerky
I
Con.
would go to that. I would actually
or
go to that.
Bucky Con or Bear Claw Con or something.
We have all kinds of conventions. We have conventions, festivals, 1 day
Yep.
events. Like I don't know if you guys are aware of this. For this to the audience as well. Texas has something called. They had it either last year or the year before. I'm not sure when, but they had something called and it was called a taco and tequila festival,
What?
and it was awesome. I had some hemp tacos, and Baby Bash was there singing his songs, and they were promoting like the legalization of marijuana in the state of Texas. And it was just tacos and tequila. It was a great time, especially if you're 21 and up. And they even had a wrestling show there. They had a
Ooh.
wrestling show. It was pretty cool, interesting. Even though it rained out on the show, there was a big old puddle of water in the wrestling ring.
Rip.
But
Interesting.
like we have all kinds of events and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, like there
There-
is I don't know if you've noticed it, but that wasn't the case with Delta and BotCon. And the reason why is because there weren't a
Right.
lot of conventions between Comic Palooza and Delta and BotCon.
I see.
And then as
Interesting.
soon as Delta and BotCon happened, we've been back to back to back. Whether it's in Texas, like also don't keep in mind we also had Comic Palooza. I'm sorry, not Comic Palooza. I'm sorry. Comic Con. We had Comic Con.
Yeah.
We had Anime Expo. We had other cons across the country, which normally those don't affect the economy in Texas. But a lot of people are starting to like venture out of the state for different conventions,
Mm-hmm.
and we've had so many conventions. Like it feels like it's spreading the crowd thin because some people need like a couple weeks, like not to just recover physically, but financially.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
That's a huge. I'm glad you brought that up because that's a huge. That's a huge factor in so many anime fans' lives is that they if they want to go to the cons of their choices, that they really want to go have a good time, they've got to save up enough money to get the kind of stuff they think they want from convention to convention, and money's tight.
Yeah.
So it's like you've got to be careful, and you've got to be discerning about what you're going to buy and about what you're going to do and how many cons you're going to go to. And so you've got to now be a lot more. It puts more pressure on those people to be more, I guess, more picky about where do I go and how do I enjoy myself if I'm not got a lot of money for the hotel room I mean, I guess you can go to a con and just have a good time and not buy things, but you want to be able to buy some things. You want to be able to have a good time and
Mm-hmm.
get your pricey food and get your room and have a
Mhm.
Make it work.
Pricey food.
make it worth your while, right?
Right, but there's still like even with that aspect, there's still controversy in that as well.
Right.
There are con goers, and this is based off of something I've actually witnessed. There are con goers that don't book a room. They sleep in their car.
Oh boy.
They don't have
Oh
anywhere to
no.
fresh themselves up, bathe, wash up, whatever the case may be. They don't stay with a group. They don't book the room because they like whatever the case may be. The one individual
Right.
that I'm talking about said they just couldn't afford the room,
Oh
but they
no.
went into the dealer's room and bought like a $300 figure.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
That gets to a judgment call. That gets into a weird area.
Right, and
No
that's
comment.
where like I said something. I'm like, dude, like this is actually what I said. I said, what the hell's wrong with you? Like why did
Yeah.
you buy the $300 figure when you are like sleeping in your car and like your car's AC doesn't work?
Oh my god.
Wow.
And like
Hey,
Fry Guy 88, priorities.
right. I
Right?
saw that.
I like I do try to occasionally buy stuff in the dealer's room. Uh, some people are really nice. Like Delta, one of the actual dealers there bought me something from another dealer
Aw.
because they're like, bro, your panels are so entertaining. I want to like give you a gift. because we were talking about like, dude, like I was talking, we were having a conversation. I'm like, bro, I really want that like Q pocket. What are they called? They're like chibi versions of like male and female characters. They're supposed to be all cute and shit. Q pocket, something like that.
I don't know.
They're some Q posket or something like that, or something like that. So it's a figure. It's $26. I was like, oh, I kind of want it, but it's $26, and I can't. I don't know. Like I can probably buy it, but I just spent way too much money, and I'm already like, I need to pay my rent. And he's like, dude, I'll get it for you. He bought it for me, and then someone else bought me another figurine. I got 2 figurines that weekend.
Okay.
So I was like really happy that people were willing
Rock
to
on.
help me out, because I explained it to him like, as much as I really want this, I do have other priorities. Like,
Yeah. And it's easy to tell. Sometimes you get into situations where like somebody comes up to your table. Someone came up to my table and said, "Yeah, you signed this thing for me. You put it in a thing, and then I put it in the car, and this water got spilled on it, and it's ruined and blah blah." And I gave him another one. It's like you've got to be cool to a certain point. You've got to be like, I'm not going to charge you for a replacement. I mean, you've got to gauge the situation and be cool in terms of. And I think most voice actors are.
yeah,
You know?
like
And
some voice
I
actors.
think most vendors are. Most vendors are negotiable and cool about, But it's interesting to see, because I didn't go to a lot of I've been a stage actor for most of my life. And so in the 2000s, I was part of a company that did a lot of musicals in Houston, and I didn't have my weekends free ever. So I didn't go to conventions, and I didn't know a lot about conventions. And then as I started to find out more about them, I wanted to go to some of them. And so I started to do that. I didn't start going to cons until like maybe 2017. And then that faded away back in 2018, 2019. Then COVID hit, and then now I've done 10 last year. I've done almost 15 or 16 this year. I made 20. Let's see. And it's been so. The point being that I knew that a long time ago, people would just go to cons and they wouldn't be able to get us anything but a flight and a hotel, and that's it. There were no appearance fees. There were no guarantees. There were no charging for autographs when cons first started, and that all started to change, I guess, in the 2000 after 2010. I don't know exactly when it started changing. In the mid 2000s, I guess people started getting charging things. So it's really changed a lot. Anime has become so much more mainstream that along with it has come things getting pricier. So I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I don't know what the general consensus is among anime fans about what the market will bear and what you should charge for autographs, and what they think is outrageous or what they think is reasonable.
I think it was mid. I think it was like starting like the 2010s, because at one point I remember like a lot of the time, not every convention, but at a lot of conventions, voice actor autographs were like free for the most part, because it
Yeah.
came part of the it came part as like the like whenever they got booked with the con, depending on, like I said, depending on the convention. Like Comic Palooza, I think they were free. I'm not sure. It's been to so many fucking conventions that like at this point I just don't remember a lot of like I only remember like big details at this point now. But I remember it is part of the convention. It's part of the, like, people don't realize this, but whenever a convention books somebody, like you work out a deal with them. You work out it's same as like anybody else. Like if I were to go as a guest or panelist guest, like I'm definitely gonna like, hey, this is what I'm trying to get. Like, what would you like? Let's figure. Like, we meet in the middle, and that's where, that's where you
Yeah.
go. And it's like, but you. So I did talk to you at Delta. And we were talking about it, and then we talked about it prior. Like, you hadn't been doing, like, you haven't really done anime conventions, and like you're kind of new to it. And
I'm
there's
pretty
a
new to the scene. Yeah.
and like it's crazy. It's so crazy that you say that because what's his name? I forget his name. He's friends with one of my actual friends. He's the voice of Nappa from Dragon Ball, and he's
Okay.
kind of new to the scene too.
Right.
And I'm like, dude, you've been doing Dragon Ball Z since since Funimation
yeah.
took over. Like, how are you new to the con scene? I never really
Yeah,
did cons.
it just depends. Some people are. I mean, I'm new to it for the reasons that I told you, and some, who knows why other people have been some people are kind of late to the game.
Mm.
So, you know, it just depends. It depends on what else you got going on in your life, and how hip to the scene you were, and how much. I mean, I remember one time I wanted to get into it, but I didn't know the first thing about it. So I went to lunch with a couple of my anime voice actor friends who were heavy into it, and just got advice from them about how do you navigate it, how do you get in touch with them, do you need an agent to help book you, do you you know um, and what do you negotiate? What's the going rate? What's up these days? So I just got a bunch of advice, and try to stay well kind of within those margins.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm always emailing conventions and saying I'd love to come to your con, I'd love to see your city, I'd love to meet your fans, and then I cover my bases and go send them a message on Facebook in case it gets lost in the shuffle. That emails can get lost a little bit, so I try to kind of saturate it and just do my own work. And I've got other people looking out for me who know people who run cons, so they can kind of give them a goose and say, "Hey, man, John wants to come to your con." You do what you can, and it's just like any other business. And but because there's not really a database, there's not really a way to call these people. You can't call a convention. There's not a phone number. There's not a
No,
one eight
there
hundred
really
number.
isn't, unless you like
Right. And
actually know
yeah,
them.
I wish there was one. I wish there was an easier way to get a hold of a database of people who run conventions to say, hey, this is what I have to offer. This is why people might want to meet me. This is why somebody in your town who's got their Funko, who's never met me, they might want to check it out. And stuff like that. So it's a business. It's a grind like anything else.
Mhm.
You gotta be on the grind. So I'm amazed at what John Swayze can do, frankly, because he's been to so many. I think last year in 2022, he went to like 43 conventions.
Wow.
Out of 56 weeks of the year.
Wow.
Hello? That guy's a nut. I mean, he's a trooper. He just goes to all of them. He's just killing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but he's all for one in My Hero, and he's got a lot of other credits to his name that are good enough. So it's like, why not?
but did you ask him like, hey, so how does it like?
Well, no, I mean, I've talked to him about, I mean, I don't dig in too deep and ask people about, well, what do you do to book, and what do you? I mean, it's because everybody's got their own way of doing business, but I just get general advice from people about what are the best ways. Part of it, I think, and I think he'd agree with me, is that don't be unwilling to do small conventions, because it's all about the smaller cons and the medium-sized cons, which is great for me. I love it. That's not a problem. Don't be picky. If you want to hit the con scene, be willing to go anywhere and do. I went to one last year. It was some of the most fun I've ever had. It was a small, tiny little convention, their first in-person convention. They started as a virtual con during COVID. It was called JomoCon. It was Joplin, Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
And I went up to Joplin, Missouri, and I was the only voice actor guest, and there was one cosplay guest, and it was this cozy little convention in this tiny part of town, and we had a blast, and they had a great turnout, and we had a really cool panels, and we still had a great time. And I went out with the staff afterwards, and you've got to be willing to go to and entertain and go to cons that you think might be. So don't think of it as this big corporate business, because not every large con is looking after people, and not every large con is going to be what you want it to be, right? Some of them can be terrific, some of them not so much. You've got to depend. It's about what kind of experience you want to have, right? It's all about who runs it, who's volunteering, who's on staff, who's going to take care of you, how well they advertise. There's so many facets to running a convention, of course, that you know what I'm talking about. It's just because a con is, there are some big corporate cons out there that are going to pull in tons of people no matter what, because they've got a great reputation. And there's some others that won't as much. Or there's some cons that people go to that are a lot bigger that people don't like because they're too jam-packed or crowded, or they don't like the venue. So, you can't judge a book by its cover. You can't say, well, it's a small con, I don't want to go.
Mm-hmm.
Or they don't have a website, I don't want to go. Or I don't like their website, I don't want to go. I mean, some people actually look at websites and go, look at this cruddy website, I don't want to go to that con. Well, that's not the best way to gauge it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Some other people could have a really whiz-bang graphic designer for their website, make it look all flashy, but they don't know how to run the con when you get there.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was gonna name a con. Never mind.
That's all right. That's all right.
Yeah,
that's all right.
No, but I completely agree.
Yeah.
There's a
And
convention that we've both been to. Like the website is like not flashy or fancy, but like the con, I had a great
but the
time.
con was
Yeah, the
great.
con was
Yeah,
great.
yeah, totally.
But
Totally.
there
So
are
they just need to have a good talking to with their graphic designer or
right.
whatever.
Yeah,
I
for
think
sure.
I think it's because the person that, like it's one person wearing many hats. So
Right. There you go. You never know. You never know what's going on behind the scenes because a lot of these, who knows how they're run all the time. Neil Gaiman, the author, was talking to on Mark Maron's podcast, and he said something really interesting because he was talking about San Diego Comic Con, or one of the huge Comic Cons that he went to, because he's signing autographs for hours and hours. He's got an 8-hour line because he's the author of The Sandman and all these incredible novels and everything.
mhm.
And everybody wants to meet him. And he said something really cool that I thought was really interesting. He said, I think this one con that I went to, I can't remember which one he was talking about. He was talking about some huge, massive, famous corporate Comic Con, and he said it's this gross, corporate, cancerous, money grubbing disaster of a convention. And at the same time, to all the kids that go there, it's this super awesome 3-day liberating Woodstock of the mind where you're there with, and he said, you know what? Both of those things can be true at the same time.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
No, exactly. I know.
Right?
I know small. I knew some small conventions. Like you're talking like smaller than Delta, smaller than like Anime Houston.
Yeah. Right.
And so like the owner just like flat out like only had the corporate mindset like of making a profit. That was his
Oh, sure.
Mhm.
Sure.
that was his end goal. Like there are people, because I was still new to the community, so I've been going to conventions since 2007, and at this point, I think it was like 2008, 2009. So I interviewed the con chair, and he just flat out like he didn't even like hide it. Like, yeah, money is why I'm doing it.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. There's a way of thinking about how you do work in any industry. If you're working in the movie industry, if you're an actor, you're going to make a better director. If you've been a director, you'll make a better actor. If you've worked behind the scenes, you'll be better at all of those things, and you try to do all of those different jobs. You'll be better if the more you know about the workings of the industry. And that's why people who just want to make money and they're not really in the industry don't run things as well. But it's the reason that John Swayze or somebody like that is going to run a killer con and really care about taking care of you, because he's a voice actor and a director, and he works in the trenches of the industry. So he knows what people want. He knows what it's like to go to conventions all the time. He knows what's missing. So he's going to listen to people, and he's going to go to a convention and go, man, I want to make sure if I run a con, I don't put my people in a crappy hotel, or I don't and bus them to the convention every morning after a crappy breakfast of Fruit Loops, right? You know what I'm talking about? He's going to know how to run a convention better because he's been in the industry in all these other facets of the industry, and he knows what people are going to want. And if he knows people the more people who are anime fans, the more you're going to know what they want when they go to a con. You've got to pay attention to what people are into and what they want in terms of an experience. And part of it's and the other part is just being professional. If somebody invites me somewhere, I'm not going to show up, even if I feel terrible and I didn't get any sleep. I've got to put a smile on my face, and I've got to have a good attitude.
Yeah, exactly.
I've got to remember that it's for the fans, and I got to treat people right.
For sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. And same way I feel whenever we have panels and stuff like that, I have to shake off oh man, I feel like crap, tired, I haven't slept, I haven't ate. Got to shake it off, smile, and
Yeah.
and then do the
Yeah.
because I have an introduction for almost all of my panels. I have a very elaborate introduction. I even do it for the podcast, but I was actually gonna ask, because it's you're relatively still new, so I don't expect it to hit you as much. But I feel like there is a level of fatigue, especially if you do so many shows
Yep.
a year,
Yep.
because I
Sure.
compare it to like professional wrestling. WWE superstars are on the road.
Right.
They're on the road almost 300 days a year.
Oh, dude, nuts. Oh, man. Yeah, I get it.
Like people are like, "Oh, wrestling is fake. It's whatever." But like, I've actually been in a wrestling ring, and like the first thing they teach you is how to, like you have to throw yourself back. When you throw yourself back, you have to lift your head. You have to move your head forward, and have your arms out, and
Yep.
then like throw yourself back. Because if you don't, if you throw yourself back and you don't do it properly, you can break your neck.
Sure.
And it's like the ring is like it's a thin mat with like big old
Wow.
plywood.
Yikes.
So like it hurts like, and the ropes are metal, like they're metal wiring.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'd hate to be a wrestler, period, but I'd hate to be a wrestler on tour.
Right,
I
exactly.
bet.
So like, and like there are wrestlers that are on the road, like that's why a lot of like their marriages is like, oh, I'm not trying to say a wrestler's marriage can't survive, because a lot have survived, but there are some marriages in that industry that don't survive because of the like the time apart, and like people grow apart. But like where I'm getting at with that is that like if it's like, it's got to be like tiring and frustrating. Like it's got to be, there's got to be some fatigue, especially traveling a lot. Like
Oh, yeah, sure. No, I've definitely like having a break sometimes. I like doing cons, but in September, for instance, I've got one every weekend coming up. So that's going to wear me
oh,
out.
I
But
almost spit out my water.
Wow.
I had 3 in a row recently that ended with Delta H. So I went to like Alabama, and then I went to South Dakota, and then I stayed back here in Houston. We did Delta H. And now I've got a big long break, and then I go to Anime Town, Louisiana. Then I've got a weekend break. Then I go do 4 in September. Then a weekend break, and what. So it's nice to have a. I'd love to do a con maybe every other weekend. That'd be kind of nice. You get a break, but every weekend is kind of tough because traveling to the airport travel and flying and hotels and all that stuff and doing a con is still work. It's still exhausting. It still requires your attention. It still takes up energy, and so yeah, it gets tiring after a while.
Yeah, because you
And
got to meet deadlines. You have appointments.
yeah,
You have
you got to be on your game, and you got to make sure you get enough sleep, and you got to take care of yourself, etc. So travel is fun, but travel can also be pretty tiring. So yeah, if you just know
Yeah.
how to balance out your it's all about balance, man. If you know how to balance out your life and be able to get enough rest in between appearances, then you can be fine. You get some days off, you're cool. If you're working a serious job whenever you're not going to cons, that would wear me out. That would really wear me out. But I'm a freelancer, so I'm lucky enough to come home, chill out for a day, take a day off after a con, do some work, take a chill day, go to a con, whatever. That's the best way to do it, I think.
hmm I work a regular job, so like that Delta, I took the Friday off, but like that Delta, I was literally teaching a class, and I was so upset, like I was so frustrated, like, and then I worked both Delta and Bacon. Like I literally I was there Friday at Delta. I didn't really walk around the convention. I just kind of hung out I kind of like hung out in the room. I ran errands, going to the grocery store, stuff like that for Friday night, Saturday night. Saturday morning, took off to BalCon, was there all day. Came back to host my other panels at it is a lot, and like, and the reason why I bring up all this, guys, is because there's a lot of our followers that want to be, especially like Beth Anime said it, an aspiring voice talent,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and like, you want to get into the industry, or like, and Johnny like put it the best. Like I've talked to a lot of voice talent before. Johnny kind of put it the best way. You want to break into the voice industry, become an actor, actress
Oh yeah, of
before,
course. Of course.
Absolutely. Yeah.
and
Every
then
every
kind of get
voice
into it.
actor will tell you that.
hmm
It's voice is the icing on the cake. The acting is the heart and soul of it. If you walk into an anime booth and all you can do is impressions and voices, and you have no acting experience and no improv experience, it's gonna be really, really challenging for you to do a good job with that kind of work. You've got
For
to be able to
sure.
have improv skills. And so anything that gets your improv skills, whether it's voice acting, whether it's classes, whether it's improv group, whether it's doing stuff with your friends where you have to think on your feet, anything that gets your acting chops up and running, it has to be underneath the voice. The voice is the icing.
But you just
So
said it right there. You
yeah,
said it. I didn't mean to interrupt, but you
yeah,
said it
go
right
ahead.
there. You need to have some kind of improv skill.
Yeah,
I got
you've got to be able to
Absolutely.
you've got to be able to think on your feet. You got to be able to, because when you walk into an anime booth, you've probably been told this before, but you walk into an anime booth, it's a really weird experience. You're not working with another actor in front of you. You're seeing the whole anime on a screen, which helps you a lot, get you into it. But you've got two screens. You got your script on the left, which you've never seen before, with all your lines
mhm.
that you're seeing for the first time. You're jumping around from scene to scene, and you might skip a bunch of scenes because your character is not in this scene, this episode, that episode. 5 episodes later, we're going to do your next scene. You don't necessarily know what's happened in between that, so you've just got to be able to kind of come up with, understand what's happening in each scene, watch it once, take a crack at it, and read these lines you've never read before for the first time, not having rehearsed it at all, do the voice you came up with and be in character and add some emotion to it. So you've really got to be able to, if the director says, "Hey man, can you dial a little more anger into that? Can you do a little?" You've got to go, "Yes, I can. I can do that." "Oh, you need this? I can do that too." You've got to be a real professional, and they'll hire you again if you can do that. And you've got to have real improv skills. You've got to have those. That's why those improv skills come in so handy. You know what I mean? Because you've got to be able to think on your feet on the fly and just come up with stuff. So just being able to do, "Hey, I can do Yoda and I can imitate Batman and I can do," doesn't matter. Because trust me, when you go into the lunchroom at Crunchyroll or Sentai or anywhere else or in the lobby, everybody can do voices.
Yeah.
Everybody can do impressions. 15 people who you run into on the hallway can do the impressions that you know how to do. So it's not about I can do voices or I can sound like your voice was on that anime that I saw the other day. Can I be a voice actor? I'm not trying to sound crude or kind of like a bitchy acting coach, but I'm really am saying that I've explained why it's so important to be able to have acting skills underneath your voice talent.
Mhm. No, you're absolutely right. Like I
Big time.
Yeah.
totally 100%. Because like I was actually going to bring up the why improv is so important. Like
Yeah,
if you look at a lot of movies, some of the greatest scenes of all time were
we're
improv.
one-offs. Yeah, right.
Yeah, they were not scripted. They were kind of just. You
Yeah.
watch Avengers: Infinity War,
Oh yeah,
Dave
they're screwing
Bautista, like
around. Yeah, they're just
yeah,
screwing around in character. Yeah.
exactly. It's like, where's
Yeah.
Gamora? Who's Gamora? And then he's like, I got one better for you. Why is Gamora? See, that was not in the script. He kind of
No,
just
right,
said it to go with it. He's like, he improv that, and it was so great.
right.
They're like, you know what, we're gonna keep this, and that is the thing, though. You have to like even to run panels, like for
Sure.
everyone that
Yeah.
watches the show,
Mhm.
like all of my stuff, everything that I do, none of it is scripted. Nothing. We don't script a single thing, and like I have to be on point sometimes. Like there are some shows where I completely drop the ball and it sucks.
Yep.
And there are some like I've had trolls come into my show who tried to steal the show. And
Oh
like
yeah, sure.
we went back and forth. Like we were going back and forth on like the banter and everyone thought it was scripted. Like it was so like without skipping a beat.
That's pretty cool.
And so like you have to be able to improv. Improv
You're
works
absolutely right.
because like it's not just for acting. You have to be able to take what is given to you and make it work,
Yeah. Yep.
even with panels. Because sometimes I've seen panelists like they have charisma. They can talk. They talk to people. People like to listen to them. People like to hear. But as soon as they go up on stage and have to do a presentation, it's like, all right, they just did their 60-minute presentation in 20 minutes. Now they have 40 minutes left to just like figure out what they're gonna do. And they were taking like questions and comments and like grievances. I say grievances, but it was more like questions. But uh, it you have to be able to work and go with the flow because one thing, especially like if you interview for like a management position,
Yep.
that helps because like one thing, and I will share this with you. One thing that they listen to is if you say, um, but if you say anything like
Right. Right.
that,
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
they listen to that.
Yeah.
and
Oh yeah.
they
You've got to be. Yeah. And that's a whole different animal. But because what's interesting is that in acting, they like you to be natural and say and
yeah.
one of the things they like acting coaches teach people is never to say lines that are perfect. Don't say a line perfectly. Say a line, like that, like a normal person talks. And some people will say, well, they'll teach that as a skill to sound natural. And these days, when I get that's a big problem that I have as a voice actor, because I try to do a lot of commercials and I audition a lot. I don't get a lot of commercials because my voice sounds like I'm trained for radio. It sounds kind of like a radio voice,
I could,
and
yeah, you definitely
you know what
sound
I'm talking
like,
about.
yeah,
So
yeah.
and
So your voice,
that's been tough for me, because what people that was good in the '80s to do impressions and sound like an announcer, but every audition I've ever gotten says don't sound like an announcer. They don't want you to. They want you to sound like a normal dude next door, yet sell something in using a language that no one would ever use, saying words that no one would ever say, and still sell it, but sound natural. It's a real tough tightrope to walk,
hmm
but it's hard for me to do because I sound like I'm trained for radio, which I kind of am. I sound a little pro. I sound like I'm a little bit of a pro announcer. So it's been tough for me to sound like the natural dude. But anime is different. Anime's been different for me because, when you're acting and you're in the middle of a scene and you've got a voice going on, you can, I don't know, you can. It's easier to pull off for some reason.
hmm I can actually, I actually, now that you mention it, yeah, I definitely hear it. I definitely hear
Sure,
the
sure,
because I've listened to public show. I listened to a couple public radio shows and podcasts, and like
yeah,
definitely you do have that
radio ish.
that radio. You definitely have a radio voice. Like
Yeah,
you do have
radio
a voice
tone.
of,
Yeah. So
yeah.
Mhm.
sometimes it's tough. Sometimes it doesn't work for me. Doesn't work in my favor.
It's well, I mean, if you were to decide to like change businesses, I mean, like, because there's different types of radio hosts. There's the ones in the mornings that completely annoy the shit out of me.
Yeah. Right. Right.
But you definitely have like a like
Oh,
like
dude,
you're
I
more of a
can't.
subject matter.
You're right. I can't stand to listen to news reporters because news reporters sound so phony.
Mhm.
I'm reporting on the news and I'm talking like this, and I never would talk like this at the grocery store. So why am I talking like that? It's like, what the hell are you
Yeah,
talking like that, dude?
yeah. No, I completely like 100% agree. Like I can't, and then like I don't like listening to radio in the morning anyway. Like
Yeah, yeah. Those news
you're
reporters.
from Houston.
Right?
You're from
Yes.
Houston,
Yep. Yep.
so 104.1, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
They what is it called? The Rule and Ryan show.
Rule and Ryan show in the morning.
They do I forgot what it's called, but they do a segment where they try to catch somebody cheating.
Yeah, but those are all actors.
Well,
What?
they actually they ruined an entire they well, one of them was real because they ruined an entire relationship on the radio.
I think those are all fake, dude.
Do you think they are? Maybe. I hope it is because
I've been told that those are all hired actors.
I hope so because like that guy when they called him, oh, who would you like to give roses to, and he called them out on the
Oh
radio.
yeah, no, it's usually it's those are actors.
Okay,
They're
good.
not
That's
real.
good.
They're not real.
That's good because like I was so like I stopped listening to them after that because the guy was like he called his like fiance like he's like what he's I forgot the name of he's like hey I know you're there I listened to this show
Right. Yeah, yeah.
like
You're
the
cheating
girl
on
that
me. Or,
like you like the person that you've been like you think I'm cheating on you with is like apparently he was planning like I'm glad that you said something because he told her like oh I've been talking to this person because I was planning on proposing to you and like she's a wedding planner and yada yada
oh,
yada.
whatever. Yeah. It's all
Yeah,
fake.
so I'm glad. Yeah, so I was like, holy, I'm like,
No,
God,
I
can't
think
stand
all
that
I
crap.
think as far as I know, that's all that staged.
Because I don't know anything.
They hire local talent or local people who just want to pretend to be people on the radio, and they say, okay, here's the scenario, here's what you're going to pretend to do, and that's phony baloney.
Wow.
Yeah. Uh,
It's too bad.
no,
But
I mean,
hey,
I'm
man,
glad. No, actually, I prefer that. Honestly,
it's
I'm
kind of
glad you
like
said
it's
something.
kind of like reality show Jerry Springer stuff. It's like we know
Oh yeah,
this is
that
not,
stuff is way too out there to be real. Like,
yeah. Yeah, Ulysses just made a comment.
oh right. So
They
there
came
are
out
a
of that
few
stuff about
comments that I'm
consent.
going to address. Uh,
I'll
so
be
this
right
was
back. I'll be
early.
right back.
All right. Yeah. No. Go ahead. So literally fermenting himself. That was about the guy that was sleeping in his car. That's what heroes do. I think they were talking about John. He even does store appearances. Bry Guy 88. Thank you for the comment. Holy crap! My uncle knows the OG voice actor of Nappa from the. See, if you could help me get them on the show, I would love you forever. They legally cannot air that stuff without consent. All those radio stunts are fake. Okay, that's good. I didn't know that. Like I said, I was very ignorant, and that's the thing. Like I don't pretend to know everything. I'm not gonna like, hey, I'm definitely the smartest person in the world. Definitely not. I'm probably one of the dumbest people in the world. I don't. I used to have that mindset though. We're like, hey, I know everything. I know everything. I can't be wrong, and if I'm wrong, then you're full of shit. No, I don't work like that. I mean, I was like that early 20s, not anymore. I don't believe in that mindset. It's just weird. And it's not that it's weird. It's just
I
it
missed
comes
this.
off as
What mindset are you talking about?
oh the mindset where I don't pretend to know everything.
Mm.
I was just
Well,
saying
yeah,
that
no,
yeah,
yeah,
I didn't
nobody.
know that the whole radio thing was fake.
Oh
I
yeah,
don't
sure.
I don't pretend to know everything. Like hey,
I remember once having a conversation with some actor friends of mine in town because we were arguing about the morality of it because I said I'm not going to do that and some of my friends were going, "Dude, I'm doing it. They're going to pay me this much money." And he went on the morning radio and started doing it.
I
I
mean,
was like, "All right." You
okay.
know, I said, "No, I think I'll pass." Number one, I don't want to get up that early. Number two, I don't want to convince people that they're listening to a real breakup when it's fake. It's like that's like, come on, dude. You know what? No, no.
Right. I already have enough issues with my own personal life. I don't want to hear about other people's.
You don't need to add to it, right? Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't really care about your drama. I can't even get
Yeah,
mine in
man.
check.
Enough drama in the world. Don't add to it.
Really, it's
I
crazy
mean,
and like
seriously.
there and that's so crazy that like that we were talking about this like so because like the reason why we started Dark Side of the Community because
Right.
you're still relatively new. You're to the community. You've been even though you've been around for a lot longer. You've been guesting for a few years, but I'm
Sure.
going to. Is it safe to assume that you weren't really like involved that much at all? You're kind of more of a bystander rather
What
than like
What do you mean exactly?
prior to
Bystander.
going as like to guess. Like you were kind of
Oh,
like
I mean,
in
I
the
mean, I'm
dark.
not. I've not. I've been a voice actor for 25 years, and I know that side of the business certainly, but I don't know the con scene very well, and I'm pretty
Right,
new to the
right,
con
right.
scene. And I'm new to the con scene as a voice actor, which is very different, of course, than being a fan and being somebody who goes to a con as an attendee and deals with whatever attendees have to deal with in that world. So no, I'm not hip on that. So I'm not qualified to speak to, how which cons to go to in terms of the experience other than being a guest, which is entirely different from being an attendee,
Hmm.
right?
Right. So there are yeah, because I don't know if we've talked to you like we haven't really like we try not to talk about conventions
Sure,
with our guests. You included because like your perspective might be different.
sure,
So like we've talked about anime matsuri several times, and that was like supposed to be the subject matter for today.
right.
You know, by the way, Egg Cosplay, if you're watching by any chance, I hope you feel better. Egg
Oh
Cosplay
yeah,
was our
yeah.
guest.
Get better, please.
Yeah,
You-
please feel better soon, Egg.
I hope that's not
and
COVID.
no, I don't.
Just a
I hope
bad
so.
RSV cold or something. Flu.
Probably,
Yeah.
Mm.
Uh, and then our other guest, they had a power outage, and
Oh no.
I,
Oh no.
No.
yeah. So,
Boo.
and they're in Texas, I believe. So,
Yikes.
Yeah, I remembered when I came back from Baltimore Tuesday, I think early on in the right close to the pre-evening, we had like a 15-minute power outage. I was like, really? I just got back. Like,
right. No, there's I think we're gonna have one for a few hours next week on Wednesday, and I have to use my PTO to, because I'm not gonna be here. I'm definitely not gonna stay home. I'm gonna have to take my dog with me too, somewhere else. But, um, like, yeah, we were supposed to talk about that today. So we do a live stream every year during Matsuri, and like my actual beef. So there's two different types of. I guess I actually have beef with them on a personal level
Mm-hmm.
because of my experience with them because I know John and Denise and we used to I used to be like cool with them, but there's actual like stories that I've heard about the convention that I actually like looked into. Like I didn't just like everything I hear from the internet, I take with a grain of salt. Like, okay,
Of
what?
course.
And so I look into it because the one time we didn't look into it, the con got upset and called us all kinds of names, and
Hmm.
they sued the guest that was on here. Or at least they're suing them currently. I don't know if they're.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't
Wow.
follow up on that story. I kind of just left it as it is. I know that person that was on our show is no longer like their social media got deactivated. So I guess they did go to court. But
Wow.
like we
Wow.
always try to dig into like the controversies because there's a lot of he said she said in this community.
Okay.
And so like that's the thing like I was trying to like because you're because as a just a standard like as an attendee or as a voice talent you're not really going to hear like too much, but you start hearing like whispers here and there like the longer you attend or like the more cons you go to or
Well,
let's say
there can certainly be things that people can talk about who go to conventions about, hey, I liked going to this con or I didn't like going to that con, or there can certainly be guests, voice actor guests who talk to each other when they go to conventions about which were their favorite conventions or which ones they wouldn't want to go back to for whatever reason. Stuff like that, sure. But no, but in terms of I think what you're talking about is on a different level.
hmm right. No, it is on a different level and it's some and I guess I didn't have like a very good way of like segueing to it. But like with anime matsuri and I'm just gonna like bring up anime matsuri just in particular, but
Okay.
we were gonna talk about like all the bad things because there's so much to talk about,
Hmm.
uh, especially things that have happened to us.
Okay.
And so like there was the incident with the Nazi cosplayer.
Mm.
There's the incident of sexual harassment with the convention.
Mm.
Mm.
There's the incident of like certain talent not being paid. Like there's so
Mm.
many like instances of like of bad of their reputation being tarnished. And unfortunately, it's not like, okay, well, I guess the unfortunate part comes down to there is actual evidence and people admitting to foul, like, behavior. And it just like people, the issue I have is people are willing to turn a blind eye to everything that they've done
Mm.
bad. And they're like, well, it's the only anime convention we have. Like, we don't have that many anime conventions in Houston. And I preach like, hey, you know what? That's not a good fucking excuse.
Well, we actually
Mhm.
we do have several anime conventions in
hmm
Texas and Houston and nearby. So, but yeah, I'm certainly not qualified to speak to what you're talking about.
Right. No, because when we talked about it earlier, when if you don't mind me sharing, but like you had mentioned like, hey, I really wanted to hear about this, and this is something that we like. I don't look forward to talking about. Like, I
Sure.
actually hate talking about anime matsuri
Yep.
because people like if you don't know about anime, like there are people that don't know about anime matsuri that need to hear about it. But then at the same time, there are people that don't know about it that don't need to hear about it. Like if
Mm-hmm.
they don't know
Mm-hmm.
exists, keep it that way.
Sure, I get it.
But like I know a lot of people that are going for the first time this year. Every year it's the same thing. Hey, I'm going to Anime Matsuri for the first time. Ugh, good luck. And like
Hmm.
there are people that are fully aware of what has happened. They're like, well, in the whole like they were the only anime convention for a while. This was like before BotCon. This was before Anime Houston. This is when we only had Delta, and people weren't giving Delta a chance.
Mm-hmm.
That
Mhm.
seems not to be the case now. Delta is
Mm-hmm.
definitely like I think this year's Delta was definitely one of the best Delta H cons in a long time. And like Anime Matsuri, their 2009 convention was probably their best Anime Matsuri
Hmm.
of all time. Like it was insanely good. Hold on, give me 1 second.
Go ahead. Do, do,
All
Do,
right, sorry
do.
about
do,
that. My
do.
my brother was calling me.
That's right.
uh, so like with Anime Matsuri, there's just so much to talk about. Like there's like because we want to get people's personal experiences. We also created Dark Side of the Community to talk about like we were talking about drama because there is drama in the community, but that's more a close niche thing.
Sure.
Yeah.
But drama amongst friends can ruin an experience for like whenever we rate our conventions, we always like to say like, hey, these ratings are based off of perspective, their opinions. Like, the opinions expressed by our guests do not necessarily reflect those of the admins, advertisers, or other guests or leadership of Geeks Forever.
Hmm.
So like some people can like they absolutely hated the con, like, oh, this is the worst convention I've ever been to. I hated it. There's nothing to do. And then somebody shows up like, bro, that con was like perfect, like 10 out of 10.
Yeah,
Like there wasn't a single dull moment. And I feel like that with Delta. Delta is definitely right there with that, like with that mindset, because I loved Delta. I liked BotCon. I liked BotCon. I loved Delta. I loved both cons. But like there were people that went to Delta like, oh, there was nothing to do. It was slow. It was empty.
sure.
And
Yeah.
there were people that went to BotCon like, oh, it was tiny. It was like this and that, yada yada yada. It's based off like, but with Dark Side of the community, we want to talk about the issues that face the actual community when it comes to a con, because people don't realize
Sure.
this.
Sure.
Yeah.
Running a con is it's like a machine. Every gear has to work for it to function. And there are going to be bad things that happen at conventions,
Hmm.
and it's
For
the way the
sure.
con handles it
Right.
that reflects on them. Like at BotCon, sorry, BotCon, I don't know if y'all want me to put this out there. I do apologize, but I'm gonna like I do want to praise y'all for this at the same time. So during the cosplay competition, they had like this they had this voice talent thing where all the voice actors were like on stage and they were answering questions. And so after that, they're like, "All right, everyone, this panel's over. Like, and we're gonna do the cosplay contest here. So if you're not part of the contest, if you're not press, yada yada yada, you need to leave." There was a guy sitting in the audience saying very crude comments about
Hmm.
the female cosplayers there,
Oh yeah.
Oh.
and he was sitting next to this lady with her two kids there, and her kids were like either 10 or younger. I don't remember.
Oh gosh.
And
Oh
he was saying
no.
very inappropriate things.
Sure. Right.
And
Yeah.
so like they reported him, like from the minute they reported him to where they got him and escorted him out was only like I think like 5 minutes in between.
Wow.
That was insanely swift. Like I've seen that where it takes longer. It take 10, 15, 20 minutes to get somebody out. They did it in like 5. That was insanely fast. Like I applaud them for them. That was like they were on as soon as they heard someone saying inappropriate stuff, they didn't even wait. Like went in there swift. You got to leave. Like we're not going to tolerate that. And uh that's how I feel like cons should be, but at the same time I get it. Like the bigger cons can't function that way because they have such a network of like staff that they have to navigate through. But like that individual, that's why we created Dark Side of the Community, to talk about like the bad things that happen. Because there are people like that. There are going to be people like that in the community all the time. And that's not just this community. Before people think like, oh, the anime community is horrible. They have these people. They have that. No, no, no. That's every social. That's card gaming, video gaming, car shows, football, concerts, like any community you can think of. Renaissance community. Yep, they got people like that. Like and that's why we're here. We're here to like try to tackle the issues, because I have a daughter, and I'm pretty sure she's going to want to join the community in the future, and I don't want her to be a part. I want her to be self-aware of her. I want her to be aware of her surroundings. Who to talk to. Like definitely no, stranger danger, stranger danger. But I definitely want to improve the community for her sake, and for
Mm.
we have a lot of new cosplayers coming in, young cosplayers who are just joining the community.
Yeah. Also, John said his audio went out.
Oh snap! I am looking. Oh, it's okay. John. Yeah, I was I was so like dead set on my speech. Sorry. But we're gonna go ahead. Let me message him real quick.
Do 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 do. I'm sorry.
Sorry, because this isn't a planned pot. Normally, I have Sonic here to help me
Uh-oh.
continue the conversation, but he's not here. Like this wasn't. So I definitely want to bring John back on. Oh, there he goes. I just messaged him.
Can you hear me?
John.
Oh,
Can
Yes,
you
we
hear
can
yeah,
me?
hear you.
I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, my mic went out earlier while you were in the middle of that conversation, so I had to log back off and join
I
Julie
was
log back
like,
on.
he got real quiet.
No. I
Yeah.
was trying to talk to you. I was trying to say, hey, where did that happen? Which convention were you talking about where they got that guy out really quick?
That was Balcon.
Yeah, Buck, and I kept asking you, and I was like, wait a minute, my audio's not working anymore, so it just went out for some reason. Sorry about that, guys.
No, it's okay. It's
No
okay. I got it.
worries.
We're actually
Yeah,
gonna start wrapping up pretty soon. But
oh,
yeah, no,
okay,
it
no
was at
problem.
Balcon. It was at Balcon.
Cool. Well, no, I look. I
Awesome.
think it's really commendable of you to be to have a forum where people can talk about experiences that they've had, as long as they've, it's funny, but too much drama takes place on the internet and on social media, etc., and it happens in the anime community just like it happens anywhere else. But if I've learned anything in my life, you'll probably agree with me, is that if something did not happen to you, if you were not directly involved in something, it's probably not a good idea to consider yourself an authority on whatever's being talked about.
Mm-hmm.
So, and a lot gets talked about where people want to jump on for the drama, and they just want to know what's going on because it's controversial, or they want to be on the right side of a battle or stuff. I see a lot of stuff like that happening, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think when there's only so much information out there and it's limited information, if you do not have your own personal story about something, you should be careful about how much you dive into someone else's story, because it's not your story to tell. You know what I mean? And I think if you're talking to people who went through things or who have something to say and they want to talk about their own experiences, that's a cool thing, because you're talking to somebody who went through something. So if they want to, it's good to have a forum where people can talk about that stuff, especially if it's of a concern to the community. I hope I'm making sense.
No, it does make sense.
Yeah.
No, it's
So yeah, I
yeah.
think that's a good thing. And I think if something happened, like you said, you have personal experience with a convention, and if you want to talk about it, that's up to you, and you take your own risks by doing that, of course. And but I think what gets upsetting to me is that there is so much drama out there that is unnecessary, that has to keep continuing because people just want to talk about stuff, and it's people who don't have actual experience with it, but they just look on the internet and hear that there's a rumor and they want to pile on to a controversy. That's a very different situation than asking people, what was your experience at a convention? What do you like about this? What do you not like about this? Do you know what I'm saying?
Right. No, I agree.
Yeah,
I
for
100%
sure.
agree.
Yeah. So I think it's cool that you try to develop a forum where people can discuss what they either went through or like or don't like about a certain experience, or want to, as long as the intention is to better the community experience, to
Mhm.
make it better for everybody.
Right, because like one thing I've learned, and I will leave it at this. I'm not gonna go further into this. One thing I've learned being part of this community, being like, and going actually like talking to conventions, working backstage,
Right.
getting to know
Mhm.
people. There is a lot of stuff like that happens that people don't hear about,
Okay.
and like we like, not me in particular, because sometimes I will, sometimes I won't, but it gets handled. And like, it's not like, oh, this is a continuing situation that's probably going to get worse. Absolutely not. Like, a lot of these organizations are so great about handling stuff. As soon as it happens, like, they've already taken care of it. Like, this is not an issue anymore. Like, this person's out, they're gone. And like that, there's a lot of conventions that like take care of issues that they hear about, and it's like it's amazing. But And I was just saying, I think you were gone when I was saying, but it's not just the anime community; it's every community that
Oh
has
yeah,
this
sure,
issue.
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Renaissance has it, concerts, sports, whatever
Yep.
community you're in. There's always bad apples, and it's not like, but we can like as a community, like we actually like hey, if you feel like somebody's following you or being creeped on, like you can like let us know, and like we'll help you out. We'll like we do the whole uh what is it called, like like when they started this program like in a convention like con moms, or like the rent a
Yeah, yeah,
boyfriend
yeah.
thing,
Yep.
like you can pretend to be like this person's partner to get rid of somebody.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we started doing stuff like that.
We have certain ways of communicating with staff at conventions as guests if someone is either being inappropriate at our table or um, trying to kind of monopolize the time at our table or holding up the line or doing whatever. I mean, we have ways of dealing with all kinds of different situations, and we discuss them with each other and say, hey, here's a good con will know how to handle that quickly and easily for you to make it a good experience. And if anyone's being inappropriate, if anybody's come up to, what's unfortunate is that, like for instance, some of the female guests, voice guests at cons have a harder time than the guys because more guys will come up to the women at the tables and ask them about certain pictures or certain stuff that's not completely appropriate. So there is usually a way that the staff can handle that kind of a situation, and we have certain code and we have certain things we can text someone, and we can ask our handlers, and our handlers are usually very good at taking care of that stuff. So that's we experience some of that on our some of that ourselves, overzealous fans or whatever who want to kind of talk too long to you or ask too much of you, etc. So we can relate on a certain level, but I think for the average con goer or cosplayer especially, or people who are just attendees who aren't guests, who don't have a certain level of power or immediate connection with the owners of the cons or the staff, they have to kind of fend more for themselves in situations like that.
Exactly.
So I'm sure, yeah, so it's a different scenario.
The what's actually what inspired, there's two things that kind of helped inspire Dark Side of the Community. uh One of them is a show on Vice TV called Dark Side of the Ring, and it
Okay.
talks about like the wrestling industry, but like all the stuff that happened backstage, all like the political stuff, everything, like all the bad stuff, like stuff that I kind of already knew about, but like if
Okay.
you're like the average casual wrestling fan, then you didn't know any of this stuff. So that kind of like inspired like, but what really helped drive it is that there's a lot of YouTuber, and I this is where I'm going to compare it to like the anime, and this is where I'm going to compare the two. People do podcasts all the time about their time working at GameStop. And when I was a kid, it was my dream to work at GameStop because you get to be around video games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I finally got to work at GameStop at the age of 18, 19, it was a dream killer. Like I legitimately hated it there. It was a dream
Oh
killer.
no.
It was
Uh-oh.
horrible. They treat their employees like crap. And like when I joined the anime community, this place was like, it was like walking into, it's like a 5-year-old walking into Disney World for the first time.
Yeah,
It was
right.
kind of, if you ever seen Nightmare Before Christmas, it's like when Jack Skellington sees Christmas Town for his time. It's like, what's
Mhm.
this? What's this? There's cosplayers everywhere. What's kind of like that. And it was like amazing. But once I started getting involved and I started seeing things, and like not all of it's bad. Like you could have 20 good things, but it takes one bad thing to kind of ruin the entire experience. And so that's why we're doing it, and that's why we're trying to help, because there are as the new people come in, they're going to want to become cosplay models, they're going to want to become guests, they're going to want to be like doing the competition circuit, they're going to want to do panels, idols, maybe maid cafes. It's a growing market right now for conventions, especially because anime conventions aren't just strictly anime anymore. Anime Texas had an escape room. Like that's crazy. I don't know if anyone's ever done an escape room. I don't do escape rooms because I
Yeah, I've
know
done
I
I've
would
done I've
die.
done one.
I've never done one either.
I don't want to do one because I've seen a movie where they kind of did one and it turns out it was real and they started dying off. That would be my My bad luck, that's gonna happen to me. So I'm
Well,
gonna do escape
okay.
room.
So I'll throw this in. If you ever do the reason I've done an escape room is because I did a convention with Rico Fajardo, who plays Mirio Togata on My Hero,
Mhm.
and he is insane for escape rooms. He always wants to go find something to do at night after a con. So let's go to an escape room. Let's go see a movie. Let's go to that. So we went to an escape room at Comic Conroe. So that's why I've done one, is because we were at a con with Rico, and he's running the party, man.
Right. That
So
sounds cool though. That
it was
actually
fun.
sounds like
No,
fun.
it's fun. They're
That
fun.
sounds like fun.
Nice.
They're fun.
But uh, just real quick, I mean, we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up because I gotta go pick up my brother at the gym.
Sweet.
He called me. But Beth, what is the next convention that you are going to that people can see you and take selfies with?
Yes. So I will be at San Japan September 1st through 3rd in San Antonio, Texas. And
Sweet.
and then I'm gonna be at Anime Houston on my birthday weekend, September 22nd through 24th.
All righty. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
I'll see you there.
Yeah, for sure.
Come say
Nice,
hi.
nice.
Come say hi.
Will do.
And John, what is the
Yes, I'm going to
convention?
be at Anime Town, Louisiana, in Gonzales, Louisiana, on the 18th through the 20th of this month. Then in September, I got Bang Bang 4 in a row. I got Classic Cult Con in Baton Rouge. I've got Anime Oklahoma in Oklahoma. I got ACC Ancient City Con in Florida. That's in St. Augustine, Florida, on the 14th through the 17th, and then Anime Houston on the 22nd through the 24th. So I will be one tired little anime con
Is the
going puppy at the end of September.
I have a question for you. Just
Yes.
is the owner of Anime Oklahoma their last name Torres?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, so I'll more than likely I will also see you there.
Oh, very cool.
I think I'm going as a guest panelist.
It's Javi. Yeah.
Yes, I didn't want to say Javi's. So me and Javi went to college together.
Oh,
we actually
sweet.
know each.
No, Javi's a cool dude, man.
We knew of each other in high school, but we became friends in college. So
No, he's a cool cat. I like him a
yeah.
lot.
So I am like we are trying to figure it. But
I went to my first con that I went to of his was Waifu Fest. Well, I met him at other cons like Comic Conroe and other cons like or what was it, Central Texas Comic Con? I can't remember. There were a bunch of Central Texas Comic Cons I went to, like in Conroe and in San Angelo and other places in the last year, and met Javi at some of those, and then he got me hooked up with Waifu Fest at New Year's last year. And so that was about 7 months ago. And so we're going to do Anime Oklahoma coming up in September.
Nice. Yes. So I did talk to him about that one. So I'm trying to figure out my transportation situation to get there, but the plan is for me to go and host panels.
Good deal, man. That's
Awesome.
awesome.
So yeah, so Geeks Forever is officially going national. We're gonna say, even though I'm doing Oklahoma, I'm gonna say next year we are officially going national.
Good.
Our next convention, guys. So Dark Side of the Community will take place next week on Friday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. We will be live on the show. The Ravens flock will be joining us. They're out of Florida. They're very big on talking about this kind of stuff. Beth, I'm sorry, not Beth. I'm sorry. Beth is right here. Egg cosplay. Egg cosplay will be on the show, and a couple other people will be on the show. We might do call-ins, but we'll see. That is going to be a very big episode because next week is Anime Matsuri. I believe next week is Anime Matsuri's weekend.
Yep.
And that's when the show will go live. We will be live Friday talking about the con. And I have a mole at the con that's going to be telling me what's going on during the con.
Wow.
I cannot go to the con. I cannot be seen at the con. I can't even get through the door at the con.
Sure, right.
Because of what happened between them and us and the whole Nazi thing.
I'm sorry to hear that, man.
Damn.
That look, they should have never allowed a Nazi cosplayer to get into that convention.
That's
and for those of you that are curious about the Nazi incident, you can actually Google Anime Matsuri.
No, I've actually seen a photograph of it. I've seen
the
a
crazy
photograph
thing
of the guy with the cosplay, but I didn't know.
More
I wasn't sure of what I was looking at. I didn't know. You never know what you're looking at on the internet. So if you say it's legit, then you know.
Oh, it's very legit, and there's more to it.
Wow.
There is much more to it because I ran into the guy in the photograph at the campgrounds of the Texas Renaissance Festival. And I'm not going to go into detail until next week, but I can just say this. Me and him had a very strong conversation. Like I didn't punch him or anything. That's what everybody's thinking. I didn't punch him.
Sure, right.
But we had a very stern conversation.
Wow.
And so like yeah, there's a lot to talk about. That's why this entire series is dedicated to 3 episodes, because it's not just going to be based off of my perspective. It's going to be based off the perspective of others, and there's a lot to say.
Hmm.
And it's not like we're not okay. And so for the commenters, if you're going to come on there and start bad mouthing and shaming the attendees, please don't do that, because we will boot you.
You got some mods going on.
Yeah,
Get some mods. Yeah.
yeah, I got to get some mods. It's just that all of the Geeks Five stat, we all have different weird schedules.
Sure. Well, we all got lives and day jobs and all kinds of stuff. We all do.
Yeah, we have families.
Yeah.
So do voice actors.
Yeah, especially
Yeah.
like Jace, our co-host. He has a family. He has, I think, 2 kids. So it's not
Wow.
as easy as it sounds like.
No, you bet.
With that being said, thank you, John. Thank you.
Hey,
Beth,
you're very
for
welcome.
joining.
Thanks
You're
for having me on.
welcome.
I know, like
Appreciate it.
Thank
today,
you.
yeah, like this was all like last minute. Like,
Hey, man, unscheduled fun is the best kind of fun there is.
Absolutely.
That's true. That's true. We'll be back next week on Monday at 8 with our standard podcast. We will we will be talking about Anime Fest and Bell County Comic Con.
Sweet.
Nice.
All right, guys.
All
Have a
right.
good night.
Have a
Peace.
good night.
Have a
Cheers.
good night.